Dolph Ziggler, one of the most underrated WWE superstars of all time, and probably the most underrated one from the past 2 decades. I'm not going to deep dive too much as to why that is, because I think you all know that. I think you all know who Dolph Ziggler is and pretty much his entire career, how he was treated, and his accomplishments. So let's get started. I believe the perfect time for Dolph Ziggler to have gotten a push was 10 years ago, back in 2014. I know I feel old, 10 years already, wow. Um, which was at the Survivor Series pay per view, where Dolph Ziggler was fighting on Team Cena and was the last man standing, eliminated, I believe, three members of the Authority. Sting came out and then had Dolph Ziggler pin one of the Authority members. I can't quite remember who that was exactly, but nonetheless, Dolph Ziggler was like really applauded for his heroics, and it was weird because they didn't do anything with it. So I kept scratching my head like, why Dolph Ziggler? Why not someone who was already a main event guy at the time? Because maybe they needed an underdog to do all that. I don't know. Um, but anyways, after this, Dolph Ziggler cuts a promo on Raw how he believes that he has another WWE Championship run in him. I mean, he never had one. He had a World Heavyweight Championship run, but nonetheless, he believes he deserves a shot at the WWE Championship. He believes that he deserves so much more, and he cuts a promo similar to what he did with The Miz a couple of years later when he said that you give, and sometimes the things you love just don't love you back. And he gets, the fans behind him, but he doesn't talk about Royal Rumble too much. I mean, he says he's going to be in it and that he wants to win and prove to himself that he can do so much more. But I believe if he's going to do too many promos, then it would have been a bit obvious as who was going to win. And I don't want that. I hate when WWE kind of makes it obvious who's going to win a storyline or is going to win a certain match. So I want to keep the mystery. I want people to actually kind of overlook that promo because we'll have other WWE superstars like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins cut promos about winning the Royal Rumble. So come Royal Rumble, the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, which was between Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Seth Rollins, still happens. Same result. Brock retains, right? We don't change any of that. But in the Royal Rumble, right? In the Royal Rumble, we have Dolph Ziggler coming out at number 23. And one of the last men standing along with him is Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, and Rusev. So eventually they all get eliminated except for Dolph and Roman Reigns. They're the last two standing. So at this time, they kind of battle it out. Roman Reigns goes for a spear, grabs Dolph Ziggler, wants to throw him out, but Dolph Ziggler counters. He throws Roman over the top rope. Roman hangs on, and then he super kicks Roman, which leads him to be eliminated. So everyone's shocked, right? I mean, Dolph Ziggler of all people, who would have thought that? But I believe this would have been a better option than Roman Reigns because we all know what the reaction was afterwards, right? And it would have been very out of the blue and very, interesting in general because Dolph is finally going to get his push. So how do we go on from this, right? Because we don't want Dolph Ziggler facing Brock Lesnar. That would have been a very hard sell, right? I mean, very weird WrestleMania card, seeing that match in the main event. So, so what happens after Royal Rumble, right? The Raw after Royal Rumble, the show opens with the Authority, right? Triple H, Stephanie, and Seth. They're really furious about Dolph Ziggler's Royal Rumble win, and they start blaming him for their downfall at Survivor Series, and they're gonna vow to make his road to WrestleMania as difficult as possible. Then Ziggler cuts a very passionate promo about proving everyone wrong and fulfilling his dream of headlining WrestleMania. Seth Rollins, however, who still holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, starts teasing Ziggler. He's suggesting that even if Ziggler makes it to WrestleMania, he'll swoop in and take the title from him. So, the build up to Fastlane, the Raw after that, we get the Authority. They come out and they book Ziggler in a series of grueling matches over the next few weeks, hoping to weaken him before WrestleMania. This week, Ziggler faces the Big Show and Kane in a handicap match, but he manages to pull off an incredible victory, showcasing his resilience. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar, who appears in a pre-taped interview with Paul Heyman, where Heyman dismisses Ziggler's chances at WrestleMania. However, they hint that Lesnar is itching for a fight against a true challenger. So there's a hint that maybe Brock is not going to face Ziggler, that Ziggler might not even make it to WrestleMania. And it will kind of leave people thinking that, there's no way they're going to book Ziggler against Lesnar, right? I mean, that's such a weird matchup. So the next Raw after that, the Raw before Fastlane, the Authority announces that if Ziggler wants his WrestleMania main event to be official, he has to survive a gauntlet match against 5 hand-picked opponents. And in a spectacular match, Ziggler defeats Rusev, Cesaro, and Seth Rollins via a roll-up. This is done to, kind of protect Seth Rollins, who still has to be established as a great heel. But then he's ambushed by a returning Randy Orton, who is now aligned with the Authority. Ziggler loses the match, but proves his toughness and earns the respect of the crowd. So then, come Fastlane, the main event sees Brock Lesnar defending his WWE Championship against John Cena in a no disqualification match. But thanks to the interference from Seth Rollins and the Authority, Lesnar loses the WWE Championship to Cena. However, after the match, Rollins cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase on a battered Cena to win the championship, and this will create a new dynamic. Rollins is now the champion heading into WrestleMania. And meanwhile, Ziggler, he faces Randy Orton at Fastlane in a brutal singles match. Ziggler wins after surviving multiple RKOs, solidifying his underdog status. Now we have the build-up to WrestleMania. The Raw after Fastlane, Seth Rollins gloats about being the face of WWE, and he taunts Ziggler, claiming that he'll crush his WrestleMania dreams just like he did Cena's. The Authority books Ziggler versus Rollins at WrestleMania 31 for the WWE Championship, with the Authority stacking the odds against Ziggler. The Raw after that, we get Ziggler being scheduled to face multiple opponents each week leading up to WrestleMania. The Authority announces that if Ziggler loses even one match, he loses his title shot. Despite the pressure, though, Ziggler wins a hard-fought match against Sheamus in the main event. Rollins attempts a post-match assault, but Ziggler counters with a super kick, sending Rollins retreating. Then in the final Raw before WrestleMania, in a twist, Brock Lesnar returns and demands a rematch for the WWE Championship. However, the Authority, who wants to protect Rollins, refuse. Lesnar, then frustrated, starts targeting the Authority's members, leading to Triple H booking Lesnar in a grudge match against Randy Orton for WrestleMania. This sets up a marquee match for Lesnar while keeping the focus on Ziggler versus Rollins for the title, which I believe is a good choice, because otherwise, you have to you kind of have to keep Brock Lesnar relevant, but also keep him away from the title match, because we can't have Dolph Ziggler versus Brock Lesnar. As mentioned before, it would have been a weird matchup, right? So now we have the final Raw before WrestleMania. The Authority plays mind games with Ziggler, forcing him into a no-holds-barred match against Bray Wyatt. Despite interference from the Authority, Ziggler wins, earning massive cheers from the crowd. Rollins again tries to ambush Ziggler post-match, but Ziggler counters with a zigzag onto a steel chair, standing tall to close the show. And then on SmackDown, right before WrestleMania, there's a final confrontation. Ziggler cuts an emotional promo. Maybe that's when he does the one that he did with The Miz a couple of years later. You know, he sheds a tear about being overlooked his entire career, promising to prove that he belongs at the top. Then Rollins interrupts, claiming Ziggler's fairy tale will end in heartbreak at WrestleMania. Then come WrestleMania, we have the WWE Championship match, the main event, Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. Nobody would have thought this match was going to happen a year ago. I mean, not even a year ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, right? But it's happening. Dolph Ziggler gets his main event at WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins also gets to be in the spotlight, which is a good thing. And Roman Reigns is being sidelined a bit because, as we all know, he wasn't really ready for that role at the time. So the match itself, Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, is a technical masterpiece, with Rollins trying to outsmart Ziggler while the Authority lurks at ringside. However, Ziggler is relentless, countering every dirty trick Rollins throws at him. In a climactic moment, Triple H tries to interfere, but Ziggler takes him out with a super kick. Rollins goes for the curb stomp, but Ziggler counters it into a famouser, followed by a zigzag. The referee counts 1, 2, 3, and the stadium erupts as Ziggler wins the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. The underdog story culminates with Ziggler standing tall, confetti raining down as the show goes off the air. So in the result, Ziggler's victory cements him as a top star, and the fans get a feel-good WrestleMania moment akin to Daniel Bryan's triumph the previous year. Rollins is also protected as a crafty heel who underestimated Ziggler, allowing the feud to continue if needed afterwards. And then post-WrestleMania, we get on Raw, we get Ziggler coming out as the new WWE Champion, thanking the fans for their support. However, Rollins demands a rematch, leading to a continuation of their feud. Brock Lesnar, after dismantling Randy Orton, sets his sights on reclaiming the WWE Championship, setting up a potential Lesnar versus Ziggler match for a future pay-per-view. Again, I'm not sure if this should be happening unless we really want to take the title off Ziggler. But I personally would keep Brock Lesnar far away from Dolph Ziggler. Because, yeah, like I said before, would have been a hard sell for Dolph to all of a sudden, beat Brock Lesnar when not even The Undertaker or John Cena could do it. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you guys were entertained by my alternate storyline, and maybe I'll do more of these in the future. Who knows, if I get some more creative ideas. So leave your opinions down in the comments. Maybe you'll have a better idea of how this should have turned out. I'll be glad to read it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.